Hello and welcome to this video. My name is Gaurav and I'm a principal user researcher here at Ofgem. So in this video, we're going to be walking you through the district journey as part of the Comply with the Heat Network Consumer Protection Regulation Service. So what you can see at the moment on your screen is this is the initial account and dashboard screen that you will see after you log into the account. What we'll do is we'll scroll to the bottom of this page and then you'll see a section called Heat Networks and a big green button in the middle called Add a New Heat Network. So if we proceed and select that option and we can go through the district journey. So the first couple of screens of this journey just gives you a little bit of a heads up in terms of how the service works and the types of information that you'll need to sort of complete the journey. So the first one is just how the service works. We'll hit continue for that one and the initial information you'll need to complete sort of the first section of this form. Hitting continue then, we then proceed to sort of our shared ground loop heat network question. As we'll go through a sort of a happy path scenario, we'll select no for this option and then we'll sort of proceed with that. Hitting continue then, we then go to which regulated activities does the organisation undertake on the heat network. So it could be supplier only, operation only, or both. So again, we'll go for the most common and the sort of the happy path option here, which is sort of both of these activities. So we select that and we hit continue. We then proceed to, is the heat network already providing heating, cooling, hot water to consumers? Again, we'll sort of select yes for that one. And then we get asked, did the organisation start regulated activity on the heat network on or after the 1st of April? Again, we'll select sort of no before the 1st of April on that option. Hitting continue then, we then get a little bit of a placeholder screen to sort of let you know what you need to do when the heat network information changes over time. Hitting continue, we then get asked where the heat network consumers are located. So in this case, we'll just select England for this option. Is the heat network a single communal block? So this is where there is a difference in the journey. So in this particular option, we'll select no. So that will indicate a district. Hitting continue. So how many buildings does this heat network provide heating, cooling, or hot water to? So for argument's sake, let's say 5. Is the organisation responsible for providing heating, cooling, hot water to all 5 buildings? We'll say yes. Are any of the 5 buildings that the organisation provides heating, cooling, hot water to communal buildings? Again, we'll say yes. In this case, let's just put down 2. Does the organisation operate any energy centres on this heat network? We'll say yes, and we'll indicate 1. So proceeding to the next screen, then we then get a bit of a heat network summary screen, which plays back the information that we've provided. So as you recall, we've indicated that there's 5 buildings on the heat network, 2 of which are communal buildings and 1 energy centre. So what gets played back here is essentially a diagram, a schematic of the sort of the heat network that is going to be registered as part of this journey. So you'll see this diagram. So there's 3 buildings there as well as 1 energy centre. So the 2 buildings that we've indicated that are communal buildings, they actually come further down on this page. So they are a separate heat network registration. So those 2 communal blocks will need to be registered as a separate registrations as 2 communals going through this journey again. But when you get to the question around, is this a single, are you registering a single communal block? In that one, you'll say yes for those registrations. So proceeding with the rest of the journey then, so essentially we're going to be registering this heat network, that sort of diagram there. So hitting continue. Does the organisation operate all of the distribution pipework on the heat network? So for argument's sake, again, we'll just follow the happy path and say yes. Hitting continue. Is the heat network a self-supply network? We'll say no for this one. Is the organisation the only supplier selling to consumers for all 3 buildings on this heat network? Again, we'll say yes. Selling heating, cooling, or hot water to other heat networks or organisations. So we'll say no for this one. And you'll note in the middle, it's just reminding you there that the registration is specific to those 3 buildings and that 1 energy centre. And those 2 communal buildings are separate registrations, so they won't be part of this one. So give this heat network a name. We'll give it a check your answers. So for those that are very familiar with gov.uk web pages, this should be of no surprise as it's used widely on lots of government services. So this is essentially a check your answer screen, which plays back the information that you have provided and gives you an opportunity to change any information which you think is incorrect. Save and continue. And then we then land onto sort of our task list page. So you'll note that we've completed the first section there in introduction. We can then proceed sort of to the next section, which is sort of technical information. So selecting that. So again, the initial page just gives you a little bit of a heads up in terms of the types of things that will be asked as part of this journey. Hitting continue. Does the energy centre have a postcode? We'll say yes. So we then get asked what the postcode is. So I'll pop down this one here. So this is our Ofgem offices in Canary Wharf, so 10 South Colonnade. Hitting continue. Confirm the energy centre's address. Let's hit continue. Yep, that's fine. Looking good. Which types of heating, cooling, or hot water does this energy centre supply to consumers, to customers? So we'll hit space heating, process heating, hot water, cooling. Hit continue. What is the combined heating hot water capacity of this energy centre? So let's put down 100. What is the cooling capacity of the energy centre? Again, for argument's sake, let's just pop down 50. Which technology provides the largest proportion of the heat energy in this energy centre? So let's pop down electric boiler. We then land onto, again, the check your answer screen, which just plays back the information that we've provided. Save and continue. That section is now complete. So quite a short journey. We then move into sort of the customers and metering section. Again, sort of the introduction page just gives you a little bit of a heads up in terms of the types of questions that are going to be asked as part of this section. So it gives you some time to sort of collect that information. Hitting continue. Does this heat network have domestic customers? So we'll say yes for this one. Number of domestic customers, we'll say 20. Does this heat network have non-domestic customers? We'll say no. How many customers on this heat network have prepayment meters installed? We'll say some. Does the organisation use a metering or billing agent for this heat network? Again, we'll say no for this one. And then we get our information played back to us. So check your answers. If all is okay, save and continue. We then have another couple of sections now that get added to this sort of screen. So consumer protections. So again, introduction page, hitting continue. Does this heat network provide heating, cooling, hot water to any vulnerable customers? We'll say yes. Total number of vulnerable customers, we'll say 5. Does the organisation have a priority service register? We'll say yes. Does the organisation have a process for dealing with customers with payment difficulties, including issuing reminders letters? We'll say yes. And again, we go to sort of your check your answers screen there. Save and continue. Scrolling to the bottom there, we get to sort of the billing section here. Selecting that. So again, go to the introduction page, hitting continue. We then get asked how often does the organisation send bills to customers. So in this case, we'll say monthly, but as you can see, there are a wide range of options there. And if something doesn't meet your needs, there is another option there, which then gives you the option to then provide your own bit of detail. But to keep things simple, we'll just say monthly on this one. Does the organisation provide information on how customers' bills are calculated? We'll say yes. Does the organisation provide information so customers can compare your charges with other energy suppliers? We'll say no. What other information is included with customers' billing information? So we'll just indicate the types of information that could be provided: current energy prices charged to customers, information about customers' recent energy consumption, perhaps a year-on-year comparison, and perhaps you may have some contact information there to provide support or consumer advice. So check your answers screen, gets played back to you, save and continue. And that's sort of it, really. So you've sort of completed the main sections of the journey there. And if all is good and you're happy with what you've sort of provided at that point, hitting submit. Are you sure you want to submit 10SC Wharf? By submitting this heat network information, you are confirming that, and then you have a few sort of declarative statements there. If all is well and you're happy with what you have provided, the information is accurate, we say yes, hit continue. Brilliant. And then we sort of land on sort of the confirmation screen, which indicates your heat network information has been submitted. You then get a sort of an authorization ID and a little bit of an information there around a confirmation email, which will get sent to you. Gives you a little bit of info there in terms of what you need to do next, in terms of submitting registrations for the 2 communal buildings. And that's sort of it, really. So that is the end of the district journey as such. If we scroll to the bottom of this screen now, so landing back onto the dashboard screen, you will see that 10SC Canary Wharf has been submitted and it has the ID. So that is really the journey. And thank you for your time and watching this video.